Hello, guys. Welcome to another episode of the Drain Domain podcast. I'm your host, Brian Gutierrez, and this is the mug of the week, Mr. Fix It mug. I don't know if you can see it or read it, but yeah, it says Mr. Fix It. The fix is in tools, and the reason is a lot of people break stuff, and I end up being the one to fix it. I'm kidding. It's not always on purpose, of course, but for this week's episode, I was kind of thinking about what I wanted to talk about. And I wanted to do plumbing, of course, but I'm going to stay away from there for this week, just for this week. The reason is there's something that's really, really important for a business. It's really important for yourself. It's really important for many aspects of your life, and it's customer care. The reason why it's important is because customer care goes into your daily life. If you can't take care of people, or if you can't communicate with people, if it's hard for you, if it's something that you kind of struggle with, it's going to be very tough to kind of navigate through a working environment or a daily environment at that. Because I took an entrepreneurship class at the University of Houston. And one of the main points that resonated with me that the professor said at the end, and this professor, he was a great, great professor, a serial entrepreneur. He had many businesses that have been successful. And because the thing about me is I have to make sure it makes sense. If someone's going to be talking to me about entrepreneurship, you might as well be an entrepreneur. I don't want someone that has just sat in an office working for someone and doesn't understand the struggles and the tribulations that go into entrepreneurship, because I feel like you only really gain experience through your own struggles. There's struggles that we have gone through as a company with me and my dad that I'm glad that we went through them. Why? Because it has shaped me into who I am, and it has given me the opportunity to tell others the advice that I have given so that others can follow it and hopefully not make the same mistakes, or hopefully get away from a circumstance or a situation that otherwise they would be scratching their heads and, maybe a little bit scared of the outcome. And so he's a serial entrepreneur, very great guy. And whenever the first class, he talks about his background, military background, and he talks about some of the other businesses that he had. Um, he had some, in college and little stuff here and there, but then he had his big stuff, his financing and all these great things. And the reason why he was a professor, he only has one class at one time, and it's only on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And the thing that resonated with me at the end was he said, people do business with people and not companies. And what he means by that, and it's very true, if you're a plumber and you work for a company here in Texas, let's call the company Company X, Company X, we're not gonna say anything, but Company X doesn't have the best reputation. They get a lot of customers, a ton of customers because of their marketing and their advertisements, and they've been around for many, many years. And we have gone to fix mistakes that Company X has done previously. And I always think to myself, why would why do people still contact them? Why do people still go to them for work? Like, it makes no sense to me. It makes zero sense as to why this company still is having millions and millions of dollars funneled into their company every single year if their consistency and their quality of work is subpar. It's not good at all. They really cut corners with their people, and it's unfortunate. Unfortunate as someone who has grown to love plumbing to a certain extent. I don't love, dealing with drains and stuff like that, but to a certain extent, I've loved being around this industry, and it amazes me how they're still making money because the homeowners will tell us, well, company X charges this much and they charged us and we paid them and now we're here halfway. And to give you guys an example, this was, I believe it was a little bit after the freeze, and company X goes to their house and they decide to repipe the house. I don't know if what they had, if they had copper or whatever, I don't know. But point is, they repiped their house with PEX, PEX Type B, and whenever we go to there to the house, because they were upset, we don't know what situation we're getting in, right? Because we have to charge what we charge. We can't be like, okay, well, they've done half the work. Let's go ahead and do that. First of all, we use different material, different type of PEX, PEX Type A, Uponor PEX, which is a lot better in my opinion. But you know, fixing someone else's mistakes can be costly, even more costly, because now you have to figure out what the heck did they do? Everything's disconnected, everything. And to give you guys a picture, there's pipes all throughout the wall, just stubbed out. There's vent pipes, and the pipe is just kind of going around it in a very awkward way to where the sheetrock can't even be placed back. And nothing is connected. They have no water. And this lady, very sweet and loving lady, she is handicapped. So it was unfortunate. She was distraught. It was a very unfortunate thing. And they were like, Company X charged us $13,000 and we paid them half of it up front. And I never saw them again. And I was like, wow. So half of third was 7,500. No, 6,500. $6,500. For some people, the amount of time that you need to save up for $6,500 is an extreme amount of time. And for a company to come and just take it and leave you shanghaied with pipes everywhere, a mess. They didn't even, I don't even think they cleaned up. I think they left some pipe too as well. It's like, okay, $6,500, you put a bunch of holes in my wall, you left pipes out, nothing is connected, and you left a mess, you know? So we came and we had to charge them uh, what we believe was fair. And when we finished the work, they were very happy. They were very happy with the work. We finished in about 3 days, maybe 3 or 4 days. Don't remember the exact days, but it it amazed me that the company got away with it. Because homeowners, they sometimes don't want to deal with the legal issue of it. $6,500. I probably will, but the amount of money that goes into it, the time and the investments, it's unfortunate. And the fact that Company X had such a big name, has a big name, and they did that to a customer, it enrages me. It enrages me to see that and to understand the process, understand their frustration. And whenever the customer's crying because of the situation that they're in, because they can't flush their toilets, you know, that's what got me kind of thinking, what is going on? Why are they still having work? Because there's multiple reviews of horrible work done by them, but people still go to them. And the reason is, I believe, their sales. They have a sales team and have the actual technicians. And the sales team do such a good job at selling the services that the reviews seem obsolete to them at that point, you know, because maybe they do give a better price than other plumbers, but those sales guys, the people do business with people and not companies. But as someone who's looking out for the future of American plumbers, I believe that I should be able to at least give you some advice, give you some pointers, or at least point you to the right direction of how your customer service should be. And the reason is customer service is the most important aspect of a company. It costs, I don't know how many times more, but it costs many times more to acquire a new customer than to keep an existing customer going. So it's in your best interest to have the best customer service that you can. Because, and what they mean by that, by the way, what they mean by it costs more to have a new customer than to keep an existing one. I don't know what your company does. If you have a company or if you work for a company, I don't know if your company does Google advertisement, Facebook, if they do content creating like what we do here, um, if they do use apps, I don't know what they use, but those apps cost money. It's part of your overhead. It's part of what makes a company function. And me personally, if I'm booked, let's say 300 days of the year. If I'm booked, excuse me, and I already grown my trucks. I don't want to have another truck. I don't want to, grow in that sense physically. I can kind of eliminate that overhead cost to keep my profits up higher. And that's the goal because if you have higher profits, then you can pay your workers better. You can have better equipment. You can offer better services. It's all better for everyone involved. The customer gets a better experience. So it's in your best interest to keep an existing customer and to keep the ball rolling because they're going to give you the free version of marketing, which is called word of mouth. And word of mouth is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful thing. Why? Because you've done exceptional work for someone and they've gone to someone else and they've told them, I had plumber Byron come to me. I have loved his services. I have loved the pricing. I have loved the outcome. Every time we have a problem, he brings a solution. He may not be the cheapest plumber, but I guarantee you that you're going to be stress free, worry free. And at the end of the day, you're actually going to have your problem fixed. And whenever they tell that to someone, they're your salespeople. It's not taking advantage of them. It's just the reality of it. If I buy something, I go to my dad and I tell him, let's say a cologne, because the other day my dad gifted me a cologne, which thank you, by the way, dad. But the other day, my dad buys me a cologne and he's like, yeah, it smelled really, really good. It smelled amazing. It wasn't too expensive. I was at the store. It was on sale. So I grabbed it for you. And here you go. Obviously, I was very grateful of it. It smelled amazing. He did a very good choice. But, you hear this and you receive it and it means a lot to you because someone thought of you. I had a problem. I didn't have a problem, but let's say I ran out of cologne like the day before or something. And so I don't have cologne. My dad recommends me this. Or in the future, if I run out of cologne, I can say, if my dad recommended me this, I loved it. I'm going to go with it again, you know? And that's kind of how you keep the ball rolling. And there's more to it, which we'll get to later on. And this is kind of just an intro as to why I'm talking about customer care, customer service. And there's other plumbers who may be in industrial plumbing, who may be in commercial plumbing that don't really deal with people. And if that's you, then this can go into other aspects of your life because you have relationships, whether it's with your friends, family, acquaintances, etc. And being able to take care of the people around you is important. Um, as the professor said, people do business with people and not companies. Another thing that he said, and it literally just came to my head while I was talking, was take care of the people around you, and in return, they'll take care of you. And those were some key points. Like that really, I was like, wow. That was hearing that from him and hearing someone say that to you. It seems like common sense when you hear it. You could be like, Byron, you're full of crap because, I already knew that. Sometimes we need a reminder. And sometimes that reminder comes in many different forms. Sometimes that reminder will come in a podcast like here. And that is kind of my intro to this. We're going to talk more about diving deeper into what it actually all means and what I recommend or some advice that I could give you. Because it's something that's going to help you with your sales. It's something that's going to help you grow. It's going to be something that's going to help you have a higher selling rate and a closing rate. And that's important if you're a plumber because this is your livelihood. You're not doing it because for fun. You're not doing it because you want to work every day, worked on Thanksgiving, work the day after Thanksgiving. Sometimes we have to work on Christmas Day because that's the line of work that we're in. We signed up for it. We knew what we signed up for, right? And a couple of other things, more housekeeping stuff. We've got 2 episodes down. This is our 3rd episode now. 3rd episode, customer care. We've got 1 intro, we've got 1 water heater, and we've got this one now. So if you guys haven't seen the other videos, go and watch them. Uh, I'm trying to keep it as entertaining as possible. We're also thinking about not moving, but also adding on Spotify, trying to see what that looks like. Not too familiar with it. I just know YouTube, you can upload, but I know some people spending 45 minutes to an hour just listening to some kid talk about some young man talk about plumbing may not be the best thing in the world. So, yeah, we're going to see what we can do as far as listening to it without having to stare at the video, stare at my beautiful face the whole time. And we've got a couple of guests lined up, waiting on their availability. We're ready to move forward. And they saw us through TikTok, actually. And they said, I want to talk to the young people of America. I want to talk to the young people watching this podcast that may want to be plumbers. I've been, not me, but like they say, I've been doing plumbing for 30 years, 30 plus years. And yeah, I got another young man who he is in another state. We're doing it remotely because, I can't have them out here. I'm not there yet, guys. But he, he sold the company already in his 20s. He sold the company and made a good amount of money. And mind you, he's in HVAC, not plumbing, but very successful man. And I believe these are good people to see and learn from. Me personally, too. I can learn a lot of good things from them. And so I'm very excited to have them here. And I'll be keeping you guys updated as we move forward. So I definitely want to have guests, of course. We're new, we're fairly new. So if you guys can like, share, and subscribe, obviously helps me out. On TikTok as well, I think we reached a little bit over 1,000 followers. I think we're like 1,012 right now. And it's been an amazing journey that I cannot thank. And I'm going to keep thanking y'all. So get used to it because I'm going to keep on saying it because I truly am grateful. Being able to use the platforms that I have to my advantage to teach young people to give advice. And it seems that that's where people like watching is the advice part of it. The other day we did a water heater flushing on commercial water heaters, and I filmed everything. And it takes time for me to do it, right? It takes time. It's not something that I'm getting paid to do. I don't have any sponsorships or anything like that, so I do it out of the goodness of my heart because, again, I've just loved plumbing. I've grown to love it, and I believe that. Um, it's dying a little bit because people don't really understand what goes on to being a plumber, and they don't really understand what is plumbing. Whenever you think of plumbing, some people just think of sewage, and crap, but that's not really what it is. And so we're gonna keep it moving. Very excited for the future. Very excited to ending off the year in a good note. Um, I guess this will be uploaded in December now, so yeah, it's crazy to think of how far we've come since July when we decided to start doing these things. And I'm in the University of Houston. I've been working hard in that degree as well. It's it's a lot. It's a lot, but I don't think of it that way. I think of it as a way to help me as a person, help me be a better person as well, help me endure the stress, endure the toughness of it, because it's gonna set me up for success in the future, right? So circling back around to the customer care part of it, the first thing that I want to talk about is your presentation. Your presentation is important because plumbers, I mean this in the utmost respect. Sometimes I see you guys at continue ed courses. Sometimes I see you guys on the road, on the street, and you guys don't look too presentable, you know? And I mean that with respect because if I think that, what do you think a homeowner thinks? You're coming into their home, you're going to their house, knocking on their door, coming in, you're going to their restaurants and their commercial buildings around other guests. And if you're over here with your shirt tucked out or, some stains all over your shirt, or you smell really bad because of the job before, your jeans are all ripped up, your shoes are all ripped up, they see that. You know, you might not care that they see that, but they care that they see that. And they're not going to tell you, hey, get out of my house. But it just creates an uncomfortable kind of situation for them because they may have kids. And the way that you present yourself has a lot to do with uh, how people want to do business with you. I guarantee you that if someone comes, there's two salesmen. There's one that looks good, that's well dressed, well groomed, and there's the other one that looks like crap, that looks like they just woke up from a hangover, and they go to try to sell something to a homeowner, the one that looks good is going to win every time. This guy might have slightly less prices. They might have a company that's been there for a longer time, but because this guy presented himself in a way that's presentable, you know, adequately presented, they're more willing to, well, the customer is more willing to do the job with them than with person B. And that's important because again, we're looking to retain customers. We don't want a one-time sale. And if that's your thinking, please get out of plumbing because it is not for you. If you want to do a one-time sale, sell solar panels. I don't think anyone has bought solar panels twice. They're like, you know what? I love solar panels so much, I'm going to buy it twice. No, go in something else because plumbing is not for you. If you're in plumbing, I believe that you should do quality work for quality price, something that's fair to you and there and them as well. And you should be able to retain the customer because that's crucial element of it. Sometimes we get a bad rep and now in Texas, you have to have your fingerprints to get your license and it's only a one-time deal. But all these people are going crazy. "Oh, I don't like it. I'm getting my fingerprints. The government's not gonna be in charge of me being a plumber." And it makes sense because you're going into their house. I don't think anyone wants a felon in their house. I don't think anyone wants someone that's there's horrible people out there. And I'm not saying plumbers are horrible, but there's horrible people out there. And it's a way for homeowners to feel more comfortable about being having someone into their house because their house is kind of like their safe area, you know? So if you're a plumber, present yourself well. Our uniforms, and I'm just wearing a shirt right now. I'm wearing some heated pants because it's cold. Um, but usually our uniform is a shirt that has the company name or logo. You can have either one. It has your name, and we also wear our license. Here in Texas, you have to show your license. A lot of people don't do that, but you have to have it shown somewhere. Uh, our shirts are pretty plain. We could do better with it. But so if any of you are designers out there and want to design a shirt, please feel free to do so. So we have our shirts. We have long sleeves. We have short sleeves. We like to stick with jeans or utility pants, not cargo pants, utility pants. A belt around your waist. We tuck our shirts in and we wear boots or closed toe shoes, steel toe. Um, and just make sure everything is nice and good. Make sure your hair looks good. Uh, and we don't like I don't want you guys to get the wrong idea that we're, like, checking you at the door, you know? But, it's something that we push because they feel better about how they look, sometimes, they walk like if they own the place and stuff like that in a good way, not in a bad way, not in an obnoxious way, in a way that you can tell that they're confident in the way that they look. They're confident about working for a good company that, wants them to look good. And so that's it, if there's someone that maybe their hygiene isn't the best and we've had reports of other people saying, hey, you know what, they didn't really smell the best when they came to our house. And just talk to them, just be like, hey, maybe we could do better. What can we do? Is there something going on? Is there something we can help you with? Helping them, don't make people feel uncomfortable because you're talking to them about hygiene or presenting themselves in a good way. Be respectful of it, of course. But in in our, I guess, position or situation, that's the way that we dress. So if you guys are interested in a little bit more of that, let me know. But it's pretty self-explanatory, you know. And when you're around a lot of plumbers, you realize a lot of them smoke. There's nothing wrong with that. Each one has their habits, right? Each person has their habits. And the thing is, don't let your habits affect other people or affect your performance. And people can say, smoking a cigarette is not going to ruin your performance. No, you're right. But if you're around a truck in front of a customer's house and they don't believe in smoking and they're maybe even disgusted by it, if they're just seeing you, while away at your cigarette bud and you just throw it on the ground after, it's not going to make you look good. You think that these homeowners aren't looking? You think that most of them don't have cameras watching to see who is this person that's coming into my house? If you don't think that they are, you're wrong, right? So if you have any of those habits, do it at your own leisure. If you need to take a break, go somewhere else to take the break and then come back and try not to let it be in sight. People might not like that I'm saying these things, but it's something that needs to be said. And if you're going to continue to do what you do and let it affect the way that the customer perceives you, then by all means do it. I mean, I'm not forcing anyone to do anything. In all these podcasts, I'm never forcing anyone to do anything. All I'm doing is telling you guys from someone who has studied the buyer behavior, who has studied the way that customers perceive the people that come into their house. This is what I believe. So that's step number one, the way that you look. Step number two, our process, whenever we go to a house, we have shoe covers that we put on, regardless of if our feet are dirty or not, regardless of is it a home that maybe is valued at 100,000 or 2 million, because at plumber, you do both. And regardless of it, be respectful. If they don't have the best home, that's not on them. You're there to do a work. You're not there to judge. You're there to do a quality work for someone, regardless of their social status, regardless of what car they drive, you know. And there's sometimes when cust sorry, plumbers, they see the house and they're like, "Man, I'm not gonna put on shoe covers." That's wrong. You're wrong. Okay, I'll tell you that right now. You're wrong. Why? Because you don't know the situation that they're in, and I don't believe that it's fair for you to not give yourself the best service to them just because they don't live in a $2 million house. I don't live in a $2 million house, but if someone comes and they're like, "Sure, I don't care. I'm gonna drag dirt all over their floors," it's not right. So number one, shoe covers is highly recommended, whether regardless of what type of shoes you have. And sometimes homeowners they ask to remove your shoes, and they've done that to us, even though we have shoe covers. And be respectful. You're in their house. You're there to. They're the ones writing the checks and the payments. So be respectful of that is step number one. And what we do as well is we cover where we're walking. We have the drop cloths in our trucks. We have a good amount of drop cloths. We've invested a good amount, and some are dirtier than others. We use the clean ones, when we can. If we're like working with our drain cleaning machine, of course, we'll kind of put down not outside but inside. We'll put down kind of the more dirtier one so that it can, this and that. But we use drop cloths, and so yeah, so we have that. We have the drop cloths. And keep your area clean. Don't have tools laying down all the way around. Keep everything clean. First of all, you're gonna create a tripping hazard for yourself. You know, uh, there's been times when I've seen plumbers not put up their tools and they just freaking trip. They trip in front of the homeowner, in front of everyone. They're like about to fall. They're grabbing onto everything, knocking stuff down. And keep your area clean. It makes yourself look good as well. It makes yourself look like your mind is in the right spot to where you can have everything in a neat fashion to where, you're not a big mess. Don't be a big mess, guys. And your trucks. Oh my gosh. The amount of times that I see plumbers, I'm driving, maybe, I'm going somewhere and then I see a plumber stop and then they open their van and where you see everything falls out, everything just falls on the floor. And that's hilarious to me. The reason is because it's just as a plumber, you're like embarrassed, right? Because let's say you've had a long day. Let's say you've done 4 service jobs and they've been disgusting and nasty, and you're on the last one, and it's been a long day. You're ready to go home to your family, and you open your van and boom, everything just falls on the floor. Keep everything neat in your truck. And we're all guilty of it. I'm not saying that I'm perfect and I have my truck spotless every single time, but at least I have some idea of, okay, you know what? It's getting kind of bad. Let me take some time to get it together in jobs, have where everything goes and put it back. Is it always the case? No, absolutely not. Sometimes we've all done it. We open the back, throw it in. And keep it clean though, as best to the best of your ability. Excuse me. And so those are the things that I would recommend, right? Look presentable, take care of the customer's home. Don't be banging stuff on the walls. I think everyone does a good job at that, hopefully. And third, keep your truck in check as well. And if you're a homeowner and you're listening to this, please comment down below a situation when anyone, it couldn't be a plumber, it can be HVAC, can be, I don't know, the pest control guy, when you've noticed something that they've done that hasn't really been like the best look for them or the best look for the company. You're like, gosh, who did I bring in here? And let me know down below because I love reading those stories. They're funny. They're funny to me sometimes, um, because it's definitely a way that many people can learn from others, right? I believe that a lot of people have stories and people can learn from others, and it's important to learn from others because if not, you're just doing the same mistakes that's already been taught, you know? So there's that. And then the aftermath of it. Whenever you're taking a payment, I recommend, well, okay, before you even take a payment, whenever you arrive, tell them what you're going to do and have a written approval. What we have is we have an app, and the app, it's a great app. So we schedule the customer, we write it into the app. Yada yada yada. We've got John Doe. John Doe calls us. We answer the phone. We write down his information. We schedule him. We ask him, "Is this day good?" He says yes, and they said get sent a message immediately saying Byron Jr. from Byron Plumbing Services has been dispatched to you for Tuesday, December 3rd, if that's December 3rd. Tuesday, December 3rd at 10 a.m. Arrival time between 10 to 11 a.m. So they have that. And then once we're there, we write down the estimate on the same app and then we send it. Boom, send it through text message. They get the estimate, they see it, they read it, and they press approve or they press decline. If they approve it, then you're approved. If they press decline, no big issue. You can talk to them and see what you can do to work it out. But at least there's an approval or a decline option. And I love that. Why? Because we get notified that it says approved and it stays on their track list because we told them the price before and they approve the work and the price at the same time. If they don't approve of something, they'll decline it and we'll just resend it, we restructure it to where they can approve it uh, if they want to continue with us. And the other day, that happened to me. You know, we sent them the estimate over, they approved it, went to go get everything, did the work, and at the end, I charged them, and they're like, "What the heck? You're crazy! This and that. You're robbers!" And I was like, "Look, right here it says approved." You know, because they wanted me to, I think, produce like $200 of it. Was it 200? Like $700. That's a big jump, but it was like $700, and it was stuff like I would pretty much be doing it. No, I would have been doing it for free. I would have been doing my own labor for my price. I would have been paying for the parts out of my pocket. It was a big job, okay? And I told them, I was like, "You guys approved it. Look, there it is. There it says approved." And then they were like, "Oh yeah, I didn't know you guys saw that." Kind of fishy, but regardless, it's important to do that because everyone is in the same page. I've talked about that before, how important it is for everyone to be on the same page. So part of that is the customer knows what to expect, you know what to do, and they know what price you're gonna be charging at the end. So now at the end, be respectful as well. And in the app, we can convert the estimate to an invoice. And we just if there's any add-ons that you guys agreed upon, you add it on and then you send it over. They can pay through there. And the neat thing about this app is once work is done, it'll send a text message asking for their review. Take some time to review us, and it gives you feedback. And it's worked many times. We've gotten a lot more feedback because from the push of a button, they can give us feedback, and we can see as a company how are we doing, what is going on. Is there something that we lacked on? Is there something that they felt that wasn't right? Did our presentation look good? Did was the pricing good? Which usually the pricing isn't really an issue because they know what to expect from the beginning. And from experience, there's been a couple of times when we forget to send the estimate in. We get excited or the work's an emergency. We do the work and at the end, it's a problem. and just try to avoid that to the best of your advantage. I think if you're a plumber, you have ran into those situations before. Um, if you're the one charging, and that just kind of helps to mitigate any damages that could happen, and you get the reviews, which reviews are really important. That is why I kind of segued in to reviews, because reviews at the end is really important. Not only because it helps you with Google, Google's where they put you on the landing pages, not only because it helps customers know what you're doing, but because it lets you see as well yourself, what are you doing as a company? How can you improve? Have you done any mistakes? And don't get me wrong, guys, there's been some BS reviews. There's people that just, I don't know, they're unhappy with something, and they just take it out on you, and they take it out on your Google reviews. And it's astonishing to me how we've gotten, I think, only a handful. And since 2006 when we opened, I think we've only gotten about 2 times when that's happened, and it's been, like, complete and utter crap. It's been something that, like, is even laughable, right? Accusations and this and this and that and yada, 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 and, we've had to get lawyers involved at times because of the seriousness and the total laughing nature of it, because I'm gonna call them out. Home Advisor and Yelp. Horrible people to work with. We've had reviews on there that was horrible. It was affecting our business. It was reviews that were so crazy that they even wrote, like, maybe I think like 6 years after the work was performed, they came back and started writing this crap. And they were accusing us of things and this and that. And um, we had to get the lawyer involved. And I mean, you can't really. Whenever I talked to them about that, and I told them, I was like, "This is the proof of what we did. This is the proof of this and that. You know, this is the what we sent them, the invoice. Here are text messages." And they were like, "We can't do nothing about that. They're entitled to their opinion. This and that." And I get that. Like, I understand that. The point of being able to leave a review is your uh, it's kind of your experience with the company X, Y, or Z, whichever company it is, but it has to be reasonable as well. I told my dad whenever that was happening, because I was kind of in charge of kind of taking care of that. I told my dad, I was like, I would understand if we overcharged them, if they felt like we were overcharged, if maybe we did bad work and we never fixed it, we just ghosted them. I understand, and I'll accept the review. I'll accept the bad review. But whenever you're lying and accusing us of things, some serious things, that's when kind of you gotta take other actions to kind of take care of it, right? Which is what we did. But your reviews are important to you because it shows what company you are. It shows what type of work you're gonna do in the future, and it shows to you where you can improve. Because if you improve those points, maybe that's what people didn't like about it. Maybe that's why you weren't closing 100% of the jobs, which probably not gonna do. But be able to see the reviews as a constructive criticism and take it to your advantage and use it as a tool to grow is important. So, from now, we talked about presentation. We've talked about keeping everything nice and neat. We've talked about reviews, and the follow up is just as important as the acquisition of a customer. Don't just forget about them. I don't know what your company does. I don't know if you do anything like that. But I think that you should, you know, a letter around the holiday times, wishing them a happy holidays. Say happy holidays, guys, by the way. Don't try to say Merry Christmas or this and that. The reason why I say that, you know, uh, is because different people have different religions, and I don't want anyone to get offended. I don't want someone to get offended. I don't want to offend anyone ever. If you got different religious holidays around this time, and different people celebrate different things. So, happy holidays is the way to go, just to be respectful to everyone. If you have your beliefs, that is fine. If you want to say Merry Christmas, that is also fine. I don't think anyone will be too offended by it. But understand that there's other cultures, understand that there's other religions, and be mindful and respectful of them in any marketing that you do, right? So, uh, in the follow up process, And Mattress Mac in Houston, Gallery Furniture. I think everyone who has been in Houston, I think everyone maybe around the United States has heard of Mattress Mac. This guy bets a ton of money on Houston teams. But we bought furniture from him. Oh, maybe year and a half, 2 years ago, maybe. And after we did everything, I don't know if it was a pre-recorded message or what, but we got a phone call saying, "Hey, this is Mattress Mac with Gallery Furniture. Hoping everything was going good. This and this and that." And I was like, "Wow, like this guy makes a ton of money, right?" He's still taking care of his customers one way or another, whether it's pre-recorded, whether it was him. Let's say that it was him. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt. This guy is still taking care of his customers at I don't mean to be rude, but at the age that he's in, right? Because he's done it for a ton of years, but still, his process of making sure that the customers are taken care of, that's astonishing. And that's something that not a lot of companies can say because whenever companies get to a certain size, they tend to forget about their roots. They tend to forget about what made them get to that point. Just like with Company X from the beginning. It seems like because my dad saw them grow. My dad saw their exponential grow. My dad saw them working out of a house, out of a garage. All the trucks were there to now having a huge, uh, kind of corporate office. And it seems that as time goes on, I don't know what it is. And hopefully I don't find out. But they seem to forget their roots. And customers got you to the position that you're at now, at wherever you're at, because of a reason. You did good work for them, or maybe you took care of them in the time when they couldn't get a hold of anyone, or maybe you followed up with them. Maybe you took care of them in that sense to where they felt like if you were looking out for the best interest of their home, which you should be doing, and you were able to convey that to them. So understand that the follow-up is just as important as the acquisition. Whenever you're trying to acquire a customer, you're trying to baby them, trying to talk to them, trying to see what are their hobbies, talk about things that could be relevant to both of you guys to make them like you more. And we can dive more into liking because uh again, I took a course, applied buyer behavior, and you learn about the buying behavior of customers, why they buy the way they buy. And this has been one of my favorite classes at the University of Houston by far, because of how engaging it has been and because of what I have learned. There's good books that I can also recommend that I'll leave down below in the comments. Actually, I'll leave it in the description. That's what it is. There's a book called Influence by I forgot who, but it's a really good book talking about the buying behavior and kind of different techniques and strategies that you can use. Um, I'm a pretty busy guy, so I have to do audiobooks and follow along with the actual book, physical book when I can. But some great stuff there. If I ever have a resource that I feel like could be right for you guys, I'll leave it down in the description. I'll always be sure to check that out, guys, because I've got stuff on there sometimes. So far, I don't think I have had anything, excuse me, in the last two videos, but in this one, I'll leave that book down below. And yeah, so that kind of goes with kind of the main gist of customer care. Uh, be respectful to people. Understand that some people, you don't know what they've gone through. You don't know what tribulations and struggles their life is. Could be stress. Stress is something that affects a ton of people at whichever age that you're at. I think even middle schoolers get stressed at times. I think the only time when you're not stressed is whenever you're like 3 to 5 years old and you're just eating, and just get angry whenever someone takes something away from you. That's probably is stress either way. Whenever you're a baby, okay, change it. Whenever you're a baby, you're not stressed. So understand that people say things out of anger sometimes. It's no need for you to retaliate. Understand that you have to take care of the customer that you're taking servicing and doing work for because at the end of the day, they write the checks. At the end of the day, they can recommend you to others. And at the end of the day, um, they're the ones that keep us in business. They're the ones that keep us flowing. So important key aspect of business, guys. Hopefully, you guys learn some great things from this podcast. Hopefully, in the future, we can see you on what is it, Spotify? On Spotify as well. And you guys can tune in. We'll be keeping updates as we go. Follow the TikTok if you haven't yet at Byron Plumbing. That's it, Byron Plumbing. Our website is byron-plumbing.com. I'll leave it all in the description down below. And yeah, I appreciate you guys for listening. Again, it's December, rolling out the end of the year. Next topics coming up are going to be good ones as well. We're going to talk about some plumbing, some business, some customer care, a whole bunch of stuff. And hopefully, we get that guest going very, very, very soon. You do not want to miss it. A ton of things coming to the Drain Domain podcast as we grow and as we continue to innovate the way that we do things. So thank you guys once again. Again, my name is Byron Gutierrez. If you guys have learned anything, please let me know. And I look forward to talking about more topics with you guys. I look forward to seeing you guys next week. Wednesday, videos dropping every single Wednesday. So we see you guys then. Thank you.